The oldest tree in the forest had stood for more than 40 years. It was known as the last retirement tree. Every fruit hanging from its branches represented one season of hard work, one sacrifice, one dream delayed. Then one morning, Dorilla the gorilla found every single fruit gone. Not one remained. Someone hadn't stolen food. Someone had stolen his entire future. Dorilla had done everything he was told. He worked, he saved, he avoided unnecessary risks. Yet in only a few weeks, everything he had spent a lifetime protecting disappeared. If it could happen to him, could it happen to anyone? Everyone blamed one clever fox, but the deeper investigators searched, the more disturbing the truth became. The greatest danger wasn't the scam itself. It was the tiny decisions that quietly prepared the victim long before the scam ever appeared. Tonight, we uncover the warning signs almost no one sees until it's too late. Every sunrise, Dorilla walked the same narrow path through the forest. Rain, heat, storms, cold winters. Year after year, he carried heavy bundles across steep hills while younger animals laughed and chased shortcuts. Whenever someone asked why he worked so hard, Dorilla smiled.
One day I'll rest beneath my retirement tree.
Every season, he carefully placed another golden fruit onto its branches. Each fruit represented another year of honest effort. He never imagined those fruits would someday attract predators. Far away, hidden behind thick vines, golden eyes watched the tree. Someone had already chosen Dorilla. They were only waiting for the perfect moment. Saru the monkey visited often. They had known each other for years. He joked, shared meals, talked about old memories. One afternoon, Saru whispered,
"You've worked harder than anyone. Don't you deserve your money to work just as hard?"
Dorilla laughed.
I don't need more.
"But wouldn't it be nice to leave even more for your family?"
The words lingered. Days later, Saru introduced someone, a polished fox named Kitsune. Soft voice, perfect manners, confident smile. He seemed to know everyone's story before they spoke. He praised Dorilla's discipline. He never asked for money, only friendship. Dorilla lowered his guard, exactly as Kitsune hoped. Weeks passed. Kitsune never pressured anyone. Instead, he shared story after story. Animals who supposedly doubled their harvest, families who retired early, forests where everyone prospered. Each tale sounded believable. Each one came with convincing proof. Beautiful drawings, official-looking papers, happy faces. Dorilla wondered,
Have I been too cautious all these years?
Saru laughed.
"The world has changed. Old thinking keeps you poor."
The retirement tree suddenly looked smaller than before. For the first time, contentment turned into comparison, and comparison became temptation. Kamei the turtle crossed Dorilla's path. He had watched markets rise and fall longer than anyone alive. He listened quietly, then asked only one question.
If someone promises bigger harvests with less work, who carries the real risk?
Dorilla hesitated. Saru interrupted.
Kamei worries about everything.
Kitsune smiled politely.
I respect cautious minds.
The compliment disarmed everyone. Later that evening, Dorilla noticed tiny scratches around the roots of his retirement tree, almost invisible. He ignored them. After all, the fruit was still hanging safely, or so he believed. One cloudy morning, Dorilla agreed to move part of his harvest into Kitsune's special orchard. It looked magnificent. Golden leaves, crystal water, animals celebrating enormous harvests. Every visit brought more good news. The fruit appeared to multiply. Dorilla smiled wider than he had in years. He moved even more. Soon, nearly every fruit from the retirement tree had been transferred. Kame watched silently from across the river. His face showed no anger, only sadness, because he had seen this story before, too many times. Then, everything changed overnight. The beautiful orchard vanished. The gates were locked. The signs disappeared. The smiling workers were gone. So was Kitsune. Dorilla ran through empty fields, calling for answers. Silence. His retirement tree now stood bare. Branches swayed in the wind. Not one fruit remained. Saru refused to answer.
I lost money too.
Whether true or not, it didn't matter anymore. Dorilla wasn't grieving money. He was grieving 40 years of mornings that could never be lived again. Kame slowly approached. He sat beside Dorilla beneath the empty tree. Neither spoke for several minutes. Finally, Kame said,
They didn't steal your wisdom.
Dorilla shook his head.
They stole everything.
No,
Kame replied gently.
they stole your savings. Don't let them steal your future too.
He explained that predators hunt emotions before they hunt wealth. They study loneliness, trust, hope, urgency, greed, fear. Money simply follows. Dorilla suddenly realized the scam had begun long before he ever moved a single fruit. Kame walked through the forest showing Dorilla hidden clues, fake celebration banners, invented success stories, urgent deadlines, promises that sounded effortless. Every trick depended on one thing: stopping victims from slowing down.
When we rush,
Kame said.
we stop asking questions.
Dorilla remembered every moment he ignored his instincts, not because he lacked intelligence, because he wanted to believe. That realization hurt more than losing the fruit, but it also gave him something powerful: awareness. Dorilla couldn't replace decades overnight, but he could rebuild differently. He warned neighbors before Kitsune reached them. He checked every unfamiliar message with trusted friends. He never rushed important decisions. When someone promised unbelievable harvests, he asked for time instead of answers. Slowly, the forest changed. Young families planted carefully. Older animals shared experiences instead of hiding embarrassment. New fruit appeared, not because miracles happened, because wisdom spread faster than fear. Years later, the retirement tree looked different. It wasn't the tallest tree anymore, but its roots were stronger than ever. Dorilla often welcomed frightened strangers beneath its shade. He never began with numbers. He began with his story.
I thought scammers wanted my savings. They wanted something much more valuable. My trust.
The camera slowly rises above the forest. Across the valley, another fox quietly watches another hard-working animal. The cycle is beginning again. But this time, someone who watched this story may recognize the warning signs before the first fruit ever leaves the tree. If this story reminded you of someone you love, share it with them. One conversation today could protect a lifetime of hard work tomorrow.